the Abilene Hope Haven home team, and you are
My name is Roston Callerman. I'm the housing navigator for Abilene Hope Haven.
housing navigator. I love that. What a great title. And so, what do you guys do here in Abilene with Hope Haven?
So I'll give you the more academic answer since seems like it's going to be for class. So we are a Housing First program as part of HUD's Continuum of Care program, which is basically HUD's attempt at ending homelessness in the United States of America. So we receive funding from HUD to recruit landlords to place people who are currently literally homeless into existing housing with a landlord.
What is that? What are the statistics about the homeless population in Abilene?
It depends on who you ask. If you take a look at the latest point in time count, the numbers are going to be lower than what we've experienced. Right now we have between 450 and 500 people on our waiting list. Each of those people is currently literally homeless. So according to HUD, the definition of current literal homelessness is either living on the streets, obviously, living in emergency shelter, so that would basically be Salvation Army here in town, or living in a place not meant for human habitation, and that would be either in a car or in an abandoned building, an abandoned house, basically anything that's not hooked up to utilities.
So I see you using air quotes and using terminology. Those are literally what we call terms of art or legal terms,
Yes,
correct?
exactly,
And,
yeah.
and tell me what that means. Why do you use that specific language?
I use it because it's what HUD uses and it's what they kind of ask us to use. I also use the air quotes because place not meant for human habitation is not how people talk.
Right,
So
exactly.
I don't want it to sound like it's just like
Right.
normal verbiage for average people.
And we're talking about policy. So I know you guys were in existence prior to the current administration.
That's right.
But the current administration has put in some changes policy-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I initially asked you, how is that impacting you guys with a new secretary and a new overall housing policy from the current administration?
Well, the biggest change that we have personally experienced late in the past 2 years is that up until 2 years ago, HUD was funding transitional shelters. And because Housing First, which is what we do, Housing First is now a best practice, HUD decided to cut transitional shelter housing. And there's now options again for that. But we lost our funding, and that's when we became part of the Continuum of Care, which is our HUD program, and which is, again, Housing First is the philosophy behind it. So in terms of the new administration, I think the biggest change that we're about to start experiencing is that they're talking about making, currently people who are in HUD programs have to pay 30% of their income towards their housing. Right now there's talks of that number bumping up to 40%, which is a bit concerning because most economists agree that people should only be paying 1/3 of their income towards their housing, which includes everything from actual rental price to utilities to renter's insurance, like all those things that are inside of housing should only be 1/3 of people's income. And so HUD is thinking about bumping that up to 40%, which means that our neighbors will just be that much more rent burdened. That means that it'll be that much harder for them to stay housed because of other things like trying to keep their car running because they want to be able to get to their work, or keeping their families fed because, if they're making, above a certain amount of income, they're also about to get kicked off of food stamps. And those are paying for medical insurance because Obamacare is currently being gutted, all those different kinds of things. I'm kind of laying my political cards on the table a little bit, but
That's all right. So if students want to get involved with the cause, how do they do that?
our entry-level volunteers, we usually ask to do pretty simple things. It's mostly either cleaning or moving. So in our emergency shelter, which we have on site where our offices are, a lot of times we just need help keeping the place up. We need help cleaning. We need help, painting and sealing the fence, that kinds of stuff. With our scattered site housing, which is where we're working with landlords, a lot of our neighbors just need help. It's low-income housing usually. A lot of times landlords don't actually clean the place very well, or if the last tenant left stuff, a lot of times landlords won't spend the money to get it trashed out and take that stuff to the dump. So a lot of times we just need volunteers to help doing those kinds of things.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Well, thank you for doing what you're doing. That's exciting
Yes.
that our